You ever notice how some people over 70 start ducking out of social gatherings like it's a game of hide and seek they never signed up for? One week they're at every birthday, barbecue, and bingo night. Then suddenly you barely see them. No more church potlucks, no more family dinners, not even those monthly coffee mornings where gossip flows better than the coffee itself. At first glance, you might think, oh, they're just tired, or maybe they're getting forgetful. But that's not the whole story. Not even close. Here's the thing. Aging doesn't just change your knees and your bedtime. It changes your relationship with people, with noise, with expectations. Imagine sitting in a room full of voices, and suddenly, none of them seem to be speaking to you. That's not loneliness. It's something quieter, something deeper. A kind of social disconnection that sneaks up on you even when you're surrounded by people you love. Take Walter, for example. 74, sharp as ever, retired dentist, always had a joke in his back pocket. For decades, he was the guy who made every wedding toast, who remembered everyone's anniversary, who brought the best wine to every New Year's Eve party. But lately, Walter's RSVP game is just one long string of no's. His niece throws a birthday party. No Walter. Church picnic. No Walter. Even the Thursday poker night, which he used to host, gets a polite, maybe next time. People start whispering. Is he depressed? Sick? Bitter? But ask Walter, and he just shrugs. I just don't feel like it. Now here's where it gets tricky. It's not that Walter doesn't love his family. He does. He just doesn't love how gatherings have started to feel. Crowded, loud, fast-paced. The kind of chaos that used to energize him now makes him feel like he's underwater. He can't hear the conversations clearly, and when he does, half of it is about people he doesn't recognize or trends he doesn't follow. He doesn't want to feel like a burden asking people to repeat themselves. He doesn't want to pretend to care about things he doesn't understand. So, he stays home. And oddly, it brings him peace. This isn't rare. In fact, it's more common than anyone likes to admit. When people think of seniors skipping out on social life, they assume something's wrong. But sometimes it's just that the world moved on without asking them, and now it's spinning a little too fast. So they get off the ride. They choose calm. They choose spaces where they don't have to try so hard. But there's more to it than just overstimulation. There's the silent ache of loss. Not just of people, though that hurts too, but of roles. When you're younger, you're needed. You're the organizer, the cook, the babysitter, the ride giver, the glue that holds things together. But as you age, you start noticing people can manage without you. That sting of irrelevance can feel louder than any music at a party. Margaret, age 79, used to host Sunday dinners for 20 years straight. Roast beef, mashed potatoes, apple pie, the works. Her kitchen was the beating heart of her family. Now, her daughter-in-law handles dinners, and everyone raves about her air fryer. Margaret's food is too heavy. Her table, too small. She doesn't even get asked to bring dessert. So what does she do? She skips the invite, says she's tired, says she's got a headache. But inside, she's grieving. Not just her roast beef, but her place in the world. Then there's the question of energy. Not just physical stamina, but emotional energy. Being social takes effort. There are names to remember, jokes to laugh at, stories to listen to even when they drag. And for many over 70, that well of energy starts to run low. They have to ration it like water in a desert. If they spend it all at a party, they might not have enough left for the things that really matter, like that weekly phone call with their grandchild, or their quiet afternoon walk that keeps their knees from stiffening up like rusty hinges. And don't underestimate the mental load of comparison. You walk into a gathering and suddenly you're face to face with the ghosts of your past. Old friends who used to be sharp are now repeating the same story 3 times. Someone you once dated is there, barely able to walk. And there you are wondering if people see you the same way. Do they notice the limp in your walk, the pause in your memory, that little shiver in your hand when you try to pour coffee? It's not vanity. It's the unsettling realization that the world you once ruled now sees you as a guest in it. So instead, many seniors retreat to their comfort zones, places where they don't have to explain themselves, where silence isn't awkward, it's welcome, where their favorite chair remembers their shape better than any crowded restaurant ever could. Now here's the part no one talks about. Sometimes it's not them avoiding people. Sometimes it's people avoiding them. Friends start passing away. Siblings move far. Children get busy. Invitations dwindle. And suddenly, the absence isn't a choice. It's a pattern. One that begins quietly and then becomes the new normal. People say, "We didn't invite him because we figured he wouldn't come." But maybe he didn't come last time because no one asked how he was really doing. And if you think technology makes it easier to stay connected, let me tell you, that's not the case for everyone. Group chats with tiny fonts, video calls with awkward angles and glitchy audio, social media full of inside jokes and slang that might as well be another language. It's like being in a room where everyone's speaking fast French, and all you know is high school Spanish. So what do seniors do? They pick their moments. They become more selective. They choose gatherings that fill them up, not wear them out. The small, quiet breakfasts with one old friend, the impromptu chats with a neighbor, the ritual phone call with a cousin on Sunday night. That's not isolation. It's self-preservation. And no, it's not because they're angry or bitter or losing interest in life. It's because they've lived enough of it to know what drains them and what feeds them. They've got nothing left to prove. They've done the dances, thrown the parties, chased the conversations. Now, they just want something real, something soft, something that doesn't ask them to pretend they're still 35. Now here's where it gets interesting. When seniors start avoiding social gatherings, most people assume it's a red flag. But what if it's actually a sign of wisdom? What if, instead of fading away, they're fine-tuning their lives, distilling the noise into what really matters? Think about it. After 70, you start to see through things. You know which relationships are genuine and which ones are just habit. You know who shows up because they love you and who only calls when they need something. And after a while, you just stop entertaining the rest. It's not rude. It's not cold. It's clarity. It's choosing peace over obligation. That's what happened with Eloise. 81, sharp tongue, soft heart. She used to host every bridge night, every garden club meeting, every holiday brunch. But now, her calendar is practically empty by choice. She told her son, "I'm not lonely. I'm just done forcing myself into rooms where no one listens." What sounds like retreat is actually her standing firm. For Eloise, avoiding certain gatherings isn't about age. It's about boundaries. And honestly, there's something refreshing about that. Seniors aren't ghosting life. They're curating it, editing out the parts that drain them and focusing on what feels right. They don't need validation. They've lived through enough weddings, funerals, and awkward reunions to know that showing up isn't the same as being seen. But let's not sugarcoat it. There's also fear. Deep down, many older adults worry about becoming a burden. You get to a point where you start second-guessing whether people actually want you there or if they're just being polite. You wonder if someone will have to help you up the stairs, if they'll have to repeat the conversation 5 times because you didn't catch it the first time. That uncertainty chips away at confidence. And when your confidence shrinks, so does your social world. And the irony? The people who love you probably want you there more than ever. But it's hard to believe that when your own body keeps sending you mixed signals, your heart wants to connect, but your knees want to stay home. Your mind wants the stories, but your ears can't quite catch them. So instead of risking embarrassment, you play it safe. You cancel. You say maybe next time. You build a wall out of politeness and quiet excuses. That's why it matters so much to reach out. Genuinely, specifically. Not just the "hope you're doing okay" text. I mean really reaching. Call to say, "Hey, I miss hearing your voice." Send a photo that sparks a memory. Show up with coffee on a Wednesday morning just because. Seniors aren't pulling away because they don't care. They're pulling away because they think no one notices when they're gone. And on the other side of it, if you're a senior nodding along to all this, don't assume you've been forgotten. Sometimes the silence is just people not knowing how to bridge the gap. They might think you need rest or space or that you're simply too busy. Say something, even if it's small. A comment on a photo, a quick call, a birthday card. Sometimes all it takes is one little wave to remind the world you're still here. But here's the curveball most people miss. Some seniors are actually happier with less. Less drama, less noise, less hustle. And it's not about giving up. It's about finally living on their own terms. It's about realizing that they don't need 10 friends around a dinner table if they have one who knows how they like their tea. There's power in solitude, in quiet routines, in slow mornings with the paper and a cup of coffee, in watching the birds out the window instead of watching a crowd at a party. It's not antisocial, it's sacred. And sometimes, what looks like isolation is actually a kind of healing. After decades of rushing to keep up, of raising kids, caring for parents, working jobs, and being everything for everyone else, seniors finally get to ask, what do I want? What fills my cup? If you ask Harold, he'll tell you his favorite part of the week is Friday afternoon, sitting on his porch with a peanut butter sandwich, no shoes, just listening to the wind, no chatter, no expectations, just stillness. Ask him why he stopped going to the senior center, and he'll say, too much small talk, not enough truth. At 78, Harold wants realness, not just schedules and name tags. So if you see someone stepping away from the crowd, don't assume it's a problem to fix. It might be the best decision they've made in years. But if you are that someone, remember that avoiding everything comes with its own risks. Too much solitude can sneak into loneliness when you're not looking. The line between peaceful and isolated is thin. It's okay to say no to the big events, the loud rooms, the fast-moving conversations, but don't say no to connection altogether. Find your people. Even if it's just one or two. Find the ones who sit with you in silence and don't make it weird. The ones who speak slowly, who ask how you really are, who don't mind if you forget the punchline but laugh anyway. That's the gold. And for the rest of us, let's stop expecting our elders to keep performing. They've done their part. Now it's time we step up. Not with grand gestures, but with presence, with consistency, with the kind of love that shows up unannounced, stays for tea, and doesn't mind if you nod off halfway through a story. Because maybe the question isn't, why don't they show up anymore? Maybe the better question is, did we give them a reason to? And if you made it this far, you're probably one of the good ones. So here's your job. Check in. Not just today, not just on birthdays. Make it a habit, a rhythm, a thread that keeps someone's world from unraveling. And if you're one of those over 70 rebels who's been saying no to gatherings lately, no judgment. But maybe, just maybe, say yes to one small thing this week. Not because you should, but because someone out there might really need to hear your story. And let's be honest, you've got some of the best ones. Now, if you enjoyed this, do yourself a favor. Hit subscribe. We're building a space for stories like yours. Real, funny, honest, and full of heart. And if you've got a moment, drop your city in the comments. We'd love to know where you're watching from. Who knows? You might just find someone nearby who gets it.